Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and in just a moment, I'll be taking a look at this brand new Bitcoin chart that shows us we are about to enter into an amazing opportunity. On top of that, we are seeing the Bitcoin short positions on the rise, and this chart still shows us that another very volatile move is possibly on the way. I'll be talking about all of that and more in this video, so definitely stick around to the end so that you don't miss out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame, and of course we have still seen another rejection from this descending line of resistance, which was coming in at around 43,000 a couple days ago, but right now it's coming in closer towards 42.7k. So as I have been mentioning over the past few days, Bitcoin is still technically looking bearish here in the shorter term while we're below this descending line of resistance. But then eventually, once we can see a confirmed break above this line, that would possibly be one of the first major signals that Bitcoin is potentially beginning a trend reversal. But as of right now, obviously we haven't seen that just yet. And on top of breaking above that descending line of resistance, really we would need to see a break into a new higher high. So basically we'll need to break above this high just here, coming in at around 44,500. And also if you're looking in the Bitcoin volume, at least on this chart, the volume is still relatively declining, as it has been doing for just over a week now. And anytime we see relatively low volume for Bitcoin, that increases the risk of a volatile move, because when we're on low volume, it is easier to manipulate the price of Bitcoin if you have a lot of money, for example. And as I mentioned yesterday on the channel, this low Bitcoin volume leading to a possible volatile move coming soon is also backed up by the Bollinger Bands here on the 12-hour time frame, because over the past couple days, the Bollinger Bands for Bitcoin on the 12-hour charts have been squeezing, and anytime they do that, that's how you know that we are approaching a volatile move. You can simply take a look at some other times the Bollinger Bands indicator has squeezed together. For example, back here just before a volatile move to the downside, also back here just before we saw a volatile move to the upside. So unfortunately, the Bollinger Bands indicator by itself does not tell us the direction of that volatile move. So that is why we need to be paying close attention to our support and resistance levels. For example, the next volatile move will turn into a bullish move if we can see a confirmed break above this line of resistance, and ideally break above those highs once again. And taking a look at the daily time frame for Bitcoin, the next volatile move to the downside could play out if Bitcoin breaks below this golden pocket, which goes down towards 39.5k. So in terms of being in a leverage position at the moment, I would be very careful until we finally see a break below support or above resistance. But if we do see a break below support, the room to the downside is relatively limited, but I'll talk more about that later in this video. Now taking a look at this Bitcoin chart, which is known as the Bitcoin reserve risk, and the reserve risk right here is this line at the bottom of the screen, which is calculated by the Bitcoin price divided by the Bitcoin hodl bank. And the Bitcoin hodl bank is the yellow line at the top of the chart right here. And this Bitcoin hodl bank is derived from the median value of coin days destroyed, which is this light blue line right here underneath the Bitcoin price, which is the darker blue line. And the median value of coin days destroyed is a moving average of the value of coin days destroyed. And what coin days destroyed actually means is basically if a Bitcoin is sitting in a wallet, then that Bitcoin is accumulating days that it has not moved out of that wallet. But once it is sold out of that wallet, or essentially moved out of that wallet, then those days that it has accumulated get destroyed. And so that is a big part of what makes the median value of coin days destroyed, which then is used to calculate the hodl bank, which then is used to calculate the reserve risk, which is the bottom line on the screen right here. And if you didn't understand anything that I just said, all you need to really know is when the reserve risk approaches into this red zone right here, that is usually a good time to take profits, because that normally happens when the bull market is actually topping out, or if we're at a macro top at least. And then anytime we see the reserve risk enter into the green zone at the bottom of the chart, those are usually some of the best buying opportunities, such as major market crashes or bear market lows. And what I've done here is simply zoom right into the reserve risk, and you can see that once again in previous bull markets, the reserve risk has entered into this red box right here, giving us a great sell signal. And then as I just explained, when the reserve risk, which is the red line right here, enters into this green box, those are some of the best buying opportunities that we could possibly get. And what we could see in this total bull market that we've been in since 2020 is the fact that the reserve risk has not entered into this red zone, which means there is a very good chance, according to history, that the bull market has not topped out, at least just yet. And if you're looking at what the reserve risk has been doing recently, it is approaching the green box again, which means we are basically in a re-accumulation phase, similar to what we were in back in the first half of 2020, because remember, technically we were in a bull market since March 2020, but it wasn't until the end of 2020 in around November and December that we finally left that green zone right here and really really got on the way with the bull market. So because of this right here, and because of a large number of other reasons, right now I am dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and holding for at least the next few months. Now just giving you a quick update on the Bitcoin short positions here on the Bitfinex exchange on the 4-hour time frame, and you can see that the short positions are still increasing, meaning that more and more people are betting more and more money on the Bitcoin price going to the downside. So while this process is happening, while the short positions are opening, that is adding an extra selling pressure on the Bitcoin price, because when you open a short position, selling pressure is immediately applied. But eventually, when these short positions have to close again, that will provide a buying pressure on the Bitcoin price, because when you close a short position, you essentially have to buy back into Bitcoin. So it is only a matter of time before we eventually see some of these short positions begin to close. And when that happens, there's a good chance that that would push the Bitcoin price to the upside. But for now, looking on the 12-hour chart for Bitcoin, we are technically still playing out this bullish divergence right here. And since Bitcoin confirmed this bullish divergence around a week and a half ago, we have seen reduced selling pressure, which is exactly what a bullish divergence means for the Bitcoin price, which either means sideways consolidation or a slight move back to the upside. Now zooming out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin and taking a look at this massive fractal that is technically still forming. And as I said in this tweet over on my Twitter around 2 weeks ago, Bitcoin is entering into this panic zone where a lot of people really start to flip bearish on Bitcoin and start to open short positions. And we saw a very similar thing back in June and July. And so really, for as long as the Bitcoin price holds above that 39.5k level, which was the September low and is also the golden pocket here on the logarithmic scale using the log settings for the fib levels, then that is really what's most important for this fractal to continue to play out. On top of that, if you're looking in the daily RSI, technically if you're paying attention to the highs, we are in a downtrend forming lower highs. And as you can see in this previous price action in early 2021, we saw a very similar thing. But the moment we broke above that descending line of resistance in the daily RSI, that was one of the major signals showing us that Bitcoin is finally starting to flip bullish again, leading into the end of July and into August. So that is also something that we really need to see moving forward once we finally begin a new uptrend. And on top of that, something else that can help out in Bitcoin's recovery is if the stock market sees a full recovery. This right here is the Nasdaq on the daily time frame, and you can see that the Nasdaq is going through a bit of volatility at the moment. In fact, we started this volatility in early November, exactly when Bitcoin started this bearish price action. And for anyone new to the channel, yes, the stock market and Bitcoin are highly correlated. For example, if you're looking at the major move to the upside that we saw in the Nasdaq during October leading into the beginning of November, we also saw pretty much the exact same thing in the Bitcoin price during October leading into the beginning of November. And then looking just before that, we had a correction in the Nasdaq in the month of September. We were looking bearish, exactly like how Bitcoin was also playing out a correction and looking bearish during September. So as I just said, if the Nasdaq plays out a major recovery and starts breaking into new all-time highs, then in that case, there is a pretty good chance that Bitcoin would start some sort of recovery, because believe it or not, the Bitcoin price is most bullish when the stock market is bullish, and Bitcoin is most bearish when the stock market is bearish. So this is definitely something that I am keeping an eye on, and of course, I'll keep you updated here on the channel and also in the form of real-time updates over on my Twitter. So once again, if you haven't followed me on my Twitter, make sure you're doing that in the link in the description, and also there's a link in the pinned comments. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to leave a like down below, and if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these updates that I post every single day. And considering the amazing opportunity that we are seeing in the markets right now, there's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends and family, because not financial advice, but during bearish times like this, that is when we see the biggest opportunities to make the most money later on. And for anyone that has not watched these videos right here, make sure you're doing that, because these videos can potentially help you make more money in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.